Hey, everybody. Welcome into the New England Ski Journal Basecamp Podcast. I'm Mike Specian, your host, with my co-host,
Chip Cook.
Chip Cook. That's the man. How you doing, Chip?
I'm well today, Mike. And yourself?
I'm doing awesome. It's summertime. Hold it. We've got to give a shout out to the Celtics.
What on 6/17 too. I think there was some rumor that was the same day we won it before.
David, I know you want to pop in. What are you saying?
Amazing. They'll go down as one of the weirdest champions, maybe one of the most underrated champions. Because if you look at the stats, they just crushed. They crushed the regular season. They crushed the playoffs. And yet I admit, as a fan, I never felt comfortable.
You sound like everyone from Boston.
Yeah. No. Well, they had those dips where they play like crap for like 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden in the next 90 seconds they score 40 points. So everything's fine.
That is pro basketball these days, just so you know.
Sure.
But the Celtics, their talent this year was unbelievable. Now we're on a roll. The Red Sox are winning, so who knows? There might be another banner coming.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
All-Star game's coming up. It's no.
But they are a pleasant surprise.
Exactly.
Go Sox. Yep.
So, Chip, we're fully into summer now. We're past the solstice. What do you think?
I'm in. I'm ready. It's but we're gonna talk about something I really like today. Utah.
I thought we were going to the Keys to go fishing.
No. Utah in the summer is a pretty special place. I know you've been there a lot of times. I've had countless trips, and it's a place that excites me a little bit every time I talk about it, because it's got these unique novelties that just you can't even describe them. I mean, I know you've traveled the state, but between the national parks, we always talk about the skiing, but oh my God, this place is cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, Mitt Romney left Massachusetts and went back to Utah. Do you blame him?
No. It's dry, it's warm, although I think it might be a little hot today in Salt Lake, but it's Arches, Zion, St. George. I mean, a lot of our ski industry has moved there. It's kind of says something.
It says a lot. The U.S. Olympic Center is there. We spoke a few weeks ago with Colorado, and just like Colorado, people move to Utah because of the winter, because the skiing in both states are incredible. But the summers take it to another level.
It's it's dry, it's welcoming, it's you walk outside and it's a plethora of things to do, but it's and it shares, we talk about winter, it's the difference between Colorado and Utah, that snow. It gets a lot drier over there.
It gets drier, and they get considerably more snow. Record levels of snow.
It's almost Japan, Portillo. They sometimes can talk about it in feet, not inches.
And it happens quick. But the other thing about Utah in the summer, you get up into the mountains, the vibe up in Park City down Main Street. I mean, my favorite whiskey is out of High West. My favorite bourbon. But you get up there, and the mountain biking, we used to hold Scott Week up there. So we had a big event right there. It was incredible. The rides you got in, the vistas, it was cool at night. One of my favorite mountain bike rides, period, is the Wasatch Crest Trail, going from Deer Valley down into the canyons in Park City.
It's the woods. It's got a piece of everything. It's Utah. It's unique. And we talk about the mountains. One of my favorite places is the Snowbird. And I always say I think they have the Cook Suite there. But it's in the summer. I remember going there for the first time in the summer, and I thought Colorado was beautiful, but it's a different topography. It just had a different look, and the canyon in the summer just blew my mind.
Yes, it is different than Colorado. Colorado, you have that southwest corner, which is pretty unique down at Mesa Verde and stuff. But you get into Utah, and, you start to see the petroglyphs and stuff of past generations, past cultures that are down there. I mean, it's incredible to say the least.
And that's one of the things too. Like we talk about Utah in the summer, and I think everyone thinks Moab. We forget Salt Lake City, food, culture. They've got a symphony there. And from there, that's a home base that you can go south. St. George, some of the best golfing in Utah is heading that direction. Zion, which to this day I still can't describe it to people. I think you have to kind of see it in order to truly understand what kind of national park it is. But you hit it. I mean, the mountain biking alone, just in Salt Lake City proper, you can have a blast.
It is an amazing state. And coming up next, we are actually going to talk to Alison Palmintere, who is the Director of Communications for Ski Utah, to give us the lowdown on what's going on out there this year.
If you want to be inspired and informed on everything about the New England ski and outdoor scene, then you need to check out skijournal.com. Skijournal.com delivers daily content on breaking industry news, tips, gear, dining, travel, entertainment, as well as all archived episodes of the Emmy-nominated New England Ski Journal TV show and the Basecamp Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to New England Ski Journal, the longest-running regional ski magazine in the country. New England Ski Journal's award-winning writers and photographers bring all 4 seasons to your door with best-in-class coverage on skiing and the outdoors. Log on to skijournal.com and click on the subscribe button to get New England Ski Journal mailed to you today. New England Ski Journal is a Seamans Media publication. Seamans Media. Inspiring, informative, insightful.
Welcome back, everybody. Joining us now from the great state of Utah, Alison Palmintere, the Director of Communications for Ski Utah. Welcome aboard, Alison.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, we're excited. Utah is very special to both myself and Chip. We've spent a lot of time out there, both summer and winter. So it's going to be fun talking about all that you guys do out there. Can you give us a quick overview of Ski Utah and your position in Ski Utah?
Absolutely. So Ski Utah, we are a 501c6 trade organization, so a membership-based organization, but our primary goal is to promote skiing within the state of Utah, whether that's through marketing and PR efforts, community engagement programs, trying to get more kids and more diverse folks out on the slopes, as well as providing member networking for our member resorts and ancillary members as well. And then we also have a legislative component and work to make sure that skiing remains enjoyable and safe for everyone here in Utah.
That is awesome. And what is your position within the organization?
Sure. So I'm the Director of Communications. So I focus entirely on PR for the most part. So pretty much bringing journalists out to Utah and helping them see how great Utah is and helping them with any stories that they might have coming up about Utah, answering questions, that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Now, Alison, like a lot of the West, I know we probably had a little bit of a slow start, but Utah finished off with quite a bang at the end of the season. Can you talk about that? Because I know in June, people were still talking about hiking up and skiing.
Absolutely. Yes. So obviously this season, any season that, comes after a season with 903 inches of snow is going to have quite a lot of buildup. So we did have a slightly slower start to the winter, but most of our resorts were able to open by their announced opening dates. And by February, March, the snow had really, really turned on and it came back with a vengeance. And it really felt like there were more snowy days than sunny days here in Utah, which is often the case. But it really turned on and continued going through really April, May, and many of our resorts were able to extend their closing dates. So it was a really exciting spring here in Utah, and it feels really like summer's just getting started here, and we're just thawing out after the snow. I mean, from our office, I can see up into the mountains, and there's, still some snow up there to this day. So.
Yeah, I was there in late January for a trade show, and the attitude overall was, boy, the season really hasn't happened yet. And then it just, the floodgates opened.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's often the case here in Utah, where, the saying, when it rains, it pours, when it snows more here in Utah. And so it just takes that one storm to really get us going. And then we had just some epic powder days throughout the end of spring, which is always fun and always a nice treat to have, going into April, some slightly warmer weather and that sun, and you get those bluebird powder days. And it's really what made me fall in love with skiing in Utah in the first place.
That is fantastic. Well, I fell in love with Utah also a long time ago, but the summers were incredible. How does it differ in the summer from the winter, the vibe of the whole state?
Yeah, I think a lot has changed in the past 10 or so years. We used to have a pretty defined mud season at the resorts. And really now our resorts are becoming year-round operations, which is really neat to see. There's really something to do at pretty much any time of year here in Utah. But there's the old saying, people come for the winter, stay for the summer. And I do find that to be true. Summer here in Utah is just absolutely gorgeous. The scenery is incredible, but really there's just so much to do. While winter, we focus on skiing and cross-country skiing and snowshoeing and all of those great activities and staying warm and cozy by the fire. Summer is just really go, go, go. And really, you have your choice of activities. If you're, feeling a little warm, the day is going to be a little hotter, head out to some of our incredible reservoirs, go for a swim, go for a boat ride. Or if you want to challenge yourself, there's some incredible hikes. Or even if you just want a light stroll, sometimes I'm partial to that. I mean, there's really no better place to even just take a walk than through the mountains. And they're really, in our backyard. I live about 10 minutes from the base of some of the canyons, and it's just the access here is just unbeatable.
Now, Alison, one of the things I laugh about, and Mike and I have talked, I'm a Colorado boy, but I will honestly say we sneak over to Utah quite a bit. Can you talk about one of the things that drew me in so much, the topography? I mean, Utah as a whole, for me, being a New England native, moving to Colorado, then going to Utah for the first time was quite honestly like going to a different planet. It was, every time I looked around, it was something different. Can you touch on some of those different areas we know also well?
Yeah, I think Utah is really unique and incredible in that respect. I grew up in California, and you can drive for 8 hours and still be in California, and the scenery will change a little bit, but it's nothing as dramatic as driving 3 hours from Salt Lake to southern Utah. And it's almost an immediate switch about halfway through or 3/4 of the way through, and you start to see those gorgeous red rocks. And it really, like you said, it really is like being on another planet. It feels like you're on Mars in some parts of the state. There's really so many places to choose from, but in general, our topography, I guess, tends to start with, in the southern part of the state, those red rocks, that real desert climate and desert living, incredible rock formations. And I mean, personally, outside of summer, skiing at Brian Head, I think, is just one of the most incredible experiences and really otherworldly, because it is so high up, and you are just skiing and look out and you see red rocks, and it's just incredible and really so different from skiing in the northern half of our state. And then, as you continue your journey up, you start to see those valleys and some of those larger mountains here in the Wasatch and the Uinta Cache Forest. And it's just an incredible stark difference. So there's really something for everyone. And then even heading further north towards some of our far northern resorts like Cherry Peak and Beaver Mountain, Bear Lake is a super popular spot in the summer and has this like Gatorade blue water that looks like you're in the Caribbean. There's really, you drive an hour and it looks totally different, which is just such a crazy experience coming from other states.
That is incredible. Absolutely incredible. You spoke about Brian's Head. Everybody laughs because on my laptop, I have snow report links for every state in the country that I follow all winter long for business purposes. But Brian's Head stayed open really late this year.
Yeah, Brian had extended their season, and they did extend their season last season as well. So it's just been a really great couple of years for Brian Head. Their summer activities are super robust as well, and they have a lot of activities for kids, which is great. But yeah, Brian Head's just such a special place, incredible experience. And actually, one of my favorite experiences with Brian Head is last year. I don't know if you guys know this, but last year we embarked on a journey to ski all 15 resorts in Utah in one day. And
Wow.
we did successfully complete the mission. But we stayed overnight at Brian Head, and their lodge is just also really great and has some great food. So we stayed overnight. We started about 4 a.m. at Brian Head, and that was one of just like the most awe-inspiring experiences that makes me feel really lucky to work in this industry, because it was 4 a.m. Started lightly snowing, but you could still see just all of the stars out. We had headlamps on, and there's a spot at Brian Head with the resort's permission. Of course, this was obviously with involvement from the resorts, but we were able to, ski down our first lap, and it was just such a great way to start that very long day that went until about midnight.
But it's funny you should mention that trip, which is something that might have piqued Mike and I's interest.
Let's do it.
But Salt Lake, like, I've been fortunate. I've traveled a lot of different resorts. Utah is so special because you land and you're there. Like, to walk off a plane and actually ski is not far-fetched. People always kind of think we're joking when we talk about it, but that is the beauty of Salt Lake City. It's accessibility.
Oh, 100%. We definitely have some of the greatest access on earth, as we like to say. But that's actually how I started coming out to Utah as a kid. I grew up in the Bay Area, and we would take a 7 a.m. flight out of Oakland and be on the slopes before noon. It's, especially if you're coming from anywhere in the West Coast, it's super easy to be able to ski the same day you land. And yeah, I don't think we have 10 resorts within an hour and a half of the Salt Lake City International Airport, which is crazy to think about. And sometimes I have to like go through and really count them on my fingers. And it's just, it's pretty incredible. I mean, you can be skiing definitely within an hour of landing if you tried hard enough and didn't need any rest. So it's just some of the best access on earth. And I think sometimes we here in Utah tend to kind of forget how lucky we are. That's not the case in every state, but it is such a special experience to be able to just really, like you said, walk off the plane, put your skis on, and go.
In the weather, it's Mike, you've been to plenty of trade shows. I kind of laugh occasionally. I've done a day trip to it, but you never get hung up. I mean, it's one of the few airports you fly in, you fly out. Like I've seen very few travel delays ever come through Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I think, we have a brand new airport, brand new, a couple years old now, but our newly remodeled Salt Lake City International Airport is like one of the most gorgeous airports that I've ever been to. It's such a pleasant experience flying into Utah. I mean, it was great before as well, but now we have just like this stunning artwork and all of these local businesses that have outposts at the airport. It really makes you feel very welcome when you land, and it's just a very easy experience. We have, I don't know what they're called actually. There's probably an actual name for them, but the baggage carousels that fit the skis, they really, in redoing the airport, were able to kind of customize it to what most people flying in are here to do. And so they've just made it really easy to like get your bag and head out.
Yeah, I've flown in out of Boston to most of the Western airports, and I'll tell you, to get on snow, Salt Lake City is the easiest. We can also be on snow in the afternoon. I've done it numerous times. You fly in and you go ski. It's that quick and easy. Why don't you give us a view at, by region, what's going on this summer at your resorts?
Sure. So every summer, our resorts, they're open for hiking or mountain biking, depending on the resort. Lifts are mountain biking, some of them. And then many, if not most of our resorts have a ton of events. And I definitely recommend checking out skiutah.com for like a full recap of those because it's quite extensive. But overall, many of our resorts offer incredible opportunities to see live music, whether that's local bands or really like some big international names coming out to play for us here in Utah. There's tons of food events, whether that's beer festivals, Snowbirds Oktoberfest, food and wine festivals, really just anything you could possibly imagine. Even in downtown, on Main Street in Park City Market, all sorts of just incredible opportunities to just really soak up the summer sun. It's one of my favorite activities is to just, go for a hike up at Alta and see all the gorgeous wildflowers and then have brunch at Alta Lodge as I have been known to be there on many a Sunday. So there's really just kind of something for everyone. I'd say Park City has the most amount of concert series I've ever seen in a mountain town. Most of the resorts have several different concert series. And we just finished up with Savor the Summit this past weekend in Park City, which is always a really fun experience where they put tables down Main Street and everybody eats, and restaurants are responsible for different groups of tables. And it's just like a very stunning, when you see photos of it, it's a pretty incredible experience. Salt Lake also has concert series at Red Butte and Twilight, even Ogden as well. And then, I'm thinking Cherry Peak also has live music as well. So it's just a ton of opportunities to get out there and just stay outside really from like 8 a.m. to midnight. And the sun doesn't set until late now. So yeah, but recommend taking rest in between those. Sometimes there's almost too much to do.
Yeah, you talk about concerts and stuff. I was with Scott at one point, so we did our bike weeks out at Deer Valley, big events out there. But one time we went up and watched the Steep Canyon Rangers, bluegrass, up at Deer Valley. I'll tell you what, it was the most spectacular spot, sitting back, having a glass of wine with hors d'oeuvres, watching an incredible Grammy-winning band. It wasn't Red Rocks, but it wasn't far off.
Yeah, they definitely attract some big names, and some of my favorite concert experiences there have been some of those bigger names with some symphony backing and things like that. It is a really special experience. But believe it or not, that's not the only special it's hard to believe that even just like down the street, you're getting a similarly spectacular experience up at Park City Mountain or at Park City Song Summit. It's pretty incredible to be here in the summer and just be walking down Main Street and you just have the background of the mountains. I mean, even our office, which is at the mouth of the canyon in Salt Lake City, we're next to a Walmart, believe it or not. And I like to say that Walmart has like the most stunning view of any Walmart I've ever been to. And anytime I need to run an errand and I come outside into our parking lot, which is the parking lot of our office as well, I'm like, wow, this has to be the most scenic Walmart in all of America.
Now, Alison, one of the things that, speaking about going around to the different resorts, and I noticed this in the last couple of years, is there is a ton of accessibility on the trails. Hiking especially, I've noticed up through the waterfalls, wheelchair accessible. It for anyone can go outside and enjoy the weather. I mean, it really... Even a lot of the Denver city, it's amazing what you guys have done with your trail network out there.
Absolutely. I think having the National Ability Center here and Wasatch Adaptive Sports here has really made a huge impact on that. And it's really great to see that really anybody can access the outdoors. I know I've, in the fall, taken strolls along the Alpine Loop, which goes... it's quite long, but to see the fall foliage, and there's many people out there of all ages and all ability levels and all abilities, really being able to experience all of the nature and gorgeous things that Utah has to offer. And then, definitely recommend checking out National Ability Center and all of the incredible programs that they have year round. I know I was really just skating in Liberty Park as I've taken up rollerblading this summer.
All right.
Good.
Yes.
Liberty Park in Salt Lake City has different adaptive nights, and I saw all sorts of people on recumbent bikes, and they've really made it easy for everybody to enjoy the outdoors and really all facets of the outdoors, whether that's horseback riding to paddleboarding. There's really something for everyone here, and also something for people of all ages, which is really nice to see. It's not excuse me, it's not often that there are destinations where your 4-year-old child can be equally as entertained as you are as an adult. I think like theme parks being really one of the only other things I can think of. But really here's almost like being in a theme park of nature. There's just so much to do.
My kind of Disneyland.
Yeah.
It's and the other thing too that a lot of people don't realize, you're about 1,000 feet lower than Denver. And I know I've met my parents out there as they got a little bit older, and it is, the mountains are high. There's no doubt there's altitude there, but I know it was an easier transition. And going back to, like you said, it's easier for families to travel. You can travel with the whole family, and the acclimation is a little bit softer, I would say.
Yeah, I think so. And definitely we recommend anybody who visits really, take the time to rest. Like I said, there is so much to do, but it is really important to be able to hydrate and rest. But I think our resorts and really just the state of Utah as a whole is really great for family friendly travel. And I think honestly, a great example of that is really the way that Deer Valley is built out. I think that's one of it. All of our resorts are family friendly, but that one comes to mind in particular because the way that they've laid out their lifts, there's greens, blues, and blacks on most of the lifts. And so it's perfect for a family. You have your teenage kid who might be a solid intermediate. They go down the blue. The mom maybe goes with a 4-year-old down a green. The dad maybe goes down a black. They all meet up at the bottom and are able to ride the lift together. So there's been a lot of thought put into the way that our guests want to experience Utah. And, that seems to be a theme throughout the state.
How about if you take us around the state when it comes to national monuments and national parks? You guys have a boatload of options.
We really do. And I think that's another thing that does make Utah really special is that you can plan like a multi-week vacation here if you had the time off and were inclined to do so and be able to experience a plethora of different activities even in the winter. I know that a lot of our international visitors will plan a ski trip in conjunction with a trip to some of the national parks and monuments and the Mighty Five, all the things that make Utah great. And like you said, it is like really going to another planet, and especially juxtaposed with, say, a ski vacation or perhaps a mountain biking trip. But I wouldn't say I'm not a huge expert in the national parks, but I've been trying to explore them more and more having moved out here. And all of our state parks are really incredible too. Those are, I'd say, slightly more under the radar when it comes to visitation here. Definitely our locals are out and about visiting those, but some of our state parks, like, oh gosh, I'm gonna say this wrong, sorry. Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
That's okay. It happens to me all the time, just so you know.
Is it Goblin Valley? Maybe we'll just stay generic there. And our state parks, incredible. Our national parks obviously are world class. People come from all over the world to visit our national parks, whether that's Zion or Bryce Canyon or Moab with arches and canyonlands. We just did a trip down to Moab as a staff in the spring and we're able to see some of those incredible arch formations. So there's definitely something, especially if you're willing to take a road trip from, throughout the state of Utah, you'll be very pleasantly surprised with just tons to do, and you'll never be able to do it all in one trip.
And one of the things I tell a lot of people in the winter, these national parks are phenomenal. I'll never forget seeing arches in the wintertime.
Unbelievable.
It just, and watching the sun go down, it's worth it. Like, we all like to think we're going to go out and ski 7 days. Mike might, but there's going to be that down day, and it's worth getting in the car and traveling around. And they're easy drives. Utah's a very easy, straight state to navigate.
Yeah, absolutely. And our snow removal is incredible. I mean, even the snow removal, like up Little Cottonwood Canyon, is just world class and an incredible operation. I really have no idea how they do it, but they do it so well and keep us all safe from avalanches. But our highways, in between those national parks and ski areas are all very well kept, which is great to see. Yeah, it really is such an easy way to have a down day when skiing, or have a down day during the summer. Or just, I think really a great way to experience Utah is really a road trip. And it's something I highly encourage everybody to do once. I know that many of my friends who don't even live in Utah have done that. In fact, I'm going down to southern Utah with some friends on a road trip later this week. And I think it's going to blow their minds. They're from New York City. I don't think they will have seen anything like it. And even though I've showed them pictures of the Narrows, I don't think that it will really sink in until we're physically there. And they're like, this place exists in real life. Like, I think that's a lot of people's reaction when they see arches or canyonlands, or the Narrows, or even just some of our resorts that have these stunning views. I mean, I took a friend of mine up to Sundance over the weekend for their full moon lift rides, which are incredible. And she's not a skier, and we were sitting on the chairlift, and she is just in awe. And sometimes, as skiers, we tend to forget what a cool experience it is that we get to ride up these lifts and look at these mountains and ski down them and play and recreate in these mountains. And her mind was absolutely blown. She was like, you do this multiple times a week? You get to look at this and experience this multiple times a week during ski season, or even, just in summer. And I was like, oh yeah, that's just, just nature of the job. But it really is really awe-inspiring and exciting to see people who haven't been to Utah really get to experience it for the first time.
Well, you just brought up Sundance. Absolutely one of my favorite spots in the state. Robert Redford picked that spot for a ski area for a reason. And, the zip line is unbelievable. The hikes are unbelievable. And the artist colony or culture there, it is incredible at Sundance.
Yeah, Sundance, I think, is just one of the most special resorts we have here in Utah. Aside from the stunning views and great skiing, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Sundance. I mean, like you said, the artist culture there is incredible. So they have an art studio on site. You can take any art class you can possibly imagine, things that I would never have even thought of it. Soap making, perfume making, candle making, journal making where you brand the leather, ceramics, just anything you could possibly think of. And then they also have, during the winter, they have glass blowers come, and they use recycled glass from around Sundance. Sundance is just such a cohesive place and really a true ecosystem, I'd say. Like I said, the glass that they blow into different cups or decorative pieces or soap dishes are used throughout the property in the lodges. Those come from recycled wine bottles that they've had at those restaurants. It's truly a full circle moment. The food scene there, also incredible. I'm a huge foodie. If you haven't been to Sundance and you love food, you have to go check out Foundry Grill for brunch. Incredible. Check out the Tree Room. They have a great barbecue place for a quick lunch during winter. And then, just some of the most incredible views up at Bear Claw Cabin for lunch during the winter with a nice fire in the lodge. And it's just it's the best. I think it's one of the best places to do a staycation, but even better if you're coming from somewhere else as well. And then they just opened this past winter, really exciting, the Sundance Springs, which are, kind of soaking pools for guests. So imagine pool sized hot tubs, almost like a Japanese onsen style experience. So super exciting. And they've just broken ground on their new inn as well that we'll be seeing come online soon. So Sundance is just what a fun place. And then I didn't even mention also all of their concert series. They have their Bluebird concert series, Bluebird Cafe concert series, and as well as their theater, which is world-class theater that you get to watch outside. And it's just such a cool experience to watch the sun go down as you're seeing this incredible live theater. And yeah, Sundance, absolutely. What a great place year round. Really.
Incredible.
Now, we've touched on some of the mountains. Now, one of my favorite places, how about Salt Lake City proper? Like, I remember traveling through in the 90s, and it used to be hard to find caffeine, just given kind of the heritage behind Utah. But it is developed into a food, cultural. It is not the city Mike and I knew 1991, 1992. It has gone through an evolution.
Or 85 or 80.
Yeah, but it should be something that's talked about because it is a great city.
Absolutely. Well, I'll assure you, first of all, that there's no shortage of caffeine here in Salt Lake City. And in fact, we have some great coffee places. One that comes to mind that just opened fairly recently is Low-Key Coffee. But Salt Lake City has really changed a lot over the past 10, 15 years. And it's just, yeah, like you said, it's an incredible destination for nightlife and city life. And there's just bustling bars at night. So fun, especially it makes for a really unique après experience during the winter to be able to come back into a city if you're staying there and still have all of the amenities that cities have to offer, like these incredible local coffee shops that partner with local bakers that make some of like the best croissants that you've ever had in your life. And I feel uniquely qualified to say this. I spent most of my 20s in Vegas, which obviously has an incredible culture of celebrity chef restaurants. And I would absolutely put money down on Salt Lake any day that they rival, those celebrity chef restaurants. We have just an incredible dining scene. Many restaurants have been nominated for James Beard Awards. That actually just happened recently, and one of our members that a great friend of Ski Utah, Urban Hill, I believe the chef was nominated for a James Beard Award, and he wasn't the only one in Salt Lake. There's little pockets of culture everywhere, whether you're in the Maven district, which is such a unique district, really special. A lot of local businesses, really just kind of a block where there's local bookshops, local cafes. My favorite ice cream shop in all of Salt Lake.
Personally. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Ice cream. There we go.
Yeah. And then the unique thing about Maven District is that most of those resorts have women at the helm. So they're women-owned small businesses with really unique products, and really there's a great juice shop. There's really cute little boutiques, really something for everyone. And there's just lots of little pockets like that all throughout Salt Lake with these local businesses. And it's just a really fun place to walk. I spent Sunday just kind of walking around an area that we colloquially refer to as 15th and 15th. And I, had a coffee and a croissant at a local bakery, and then went into one of our local bookshops, which has some of the best selection as like an avid reader I've ever been to on the West Coast. And then just sort of walked around and enjoyed the day and looked at all the cute houses. And it's just a really great place to spend a day during the summer or winter.
It is, Salt Lake proper, because I've spent so much time there, trade shows for one thing. But food wise, I challenge everybody, go to the Red Iguana. You gotta go to the Red Iguana. Okay. Love it. And at the other end of the spectrum, Stein's is the most beautiful spot to have a high-end dinner, or, I've stayed at Stein's probably 5 times, which is a great spot to have lodging.
Yeah, I mean, lucky you. Steins is incredible. It also has I believe, one of the only Forbes 5-star spas in Utah. So Steins is a great place to do like a staycation as well, or a vacation. And you could really like spend several days there without leaving the property and have enough to do and experience and eat, really. And yeah, it's great. And the access from Park City, and up in our mountains, whether that's Park City or up, Little or Big Cottonwood Canyon to Salt Lake City, it's so easy to get to. So, like you said, another idea for a rest day during a ski vacation, maybe you take the kids to some of our great museums, downtown. There's really just too many options almost. Sometimes I even feel overwhelmed.
Well, we can't forget the Tabernacles there, which is just at another level.
Yeah. Oh, the temple
the temple. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I believe it's currently under construction, but like some of the architecture in Salt Lake is just absolutely gorgeous. And especially walking around downtown close to around there, it's really cool to it's you look up at the mountains and then you look up at the skyscrapers, and it's just, such a great experience.
Now, kind of moving into it, I mean, we're in the dog days of summer. What's on plan for winter? You got any insights, some secrets, or, if anyone's trying to click that button on when to book, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the earlier the better is always going to get you kind of the best bang for your buck, I suppose. But we have a lot of those announcements will come out closer to fall, but we do have a ton of new lifts and new expansions already announced. I'm sure you guys have heard of Deer Valley's Expanded Excellence, where the ski terrain at Deer Valley will be more than doubling over the next few years. And that's super exciting. So many new lifts. I mean, every year we have new lifts, which is really great to see our resorts really invest in that guest experience and just keep innovating and improving. I mean, the lift technology alone has really just it's mind-blowing even from a few years ago. I was up at Brighton this winter, and they've just installed the fastest lift in Utah, and it is like the Cadillac of lifts. Like, it is so quiet and so fast, and you feel like you're flying, but in a good way, not in a scary way. And you don't even feel excuse my lack of knowledge on what the official technical name is, but you don't even feel yourself going over the cable over the towers, I guess, where you'd normally feel that vibration. So we have a ton going on. I say stay tuned as far as new and improved for fall. Some of those guest improvements and capital improvements will be announced come fall, but a lot going on at Snowbird as well. Just, continued improvements, which is great. We love to see, new lifts and improved experiences that way.
Now, one question I have, and it was I don't know if you've done it, Mike. One of my favorite thing is the Intermountain in the winter.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It's a day that if you ski, you got to prepare yourself, and you got to do it once in your life. It's always been a concern of mine. If people are interested in that, how soon should they? Because I know it books up, and it's definitely weather contingent. Any suggestions there on when to try and book, or how quickly to get on something like that?
Sure. Yeah. So our Ski Utah Interconnect Tour is a super unique experience here in Utah. You can ski up to 6 resorts in one day through the backcountry with a guide. Backcountry, side country, I suppose, but it's also lift access. So you're experiencing up to 6 of our resorts in one day. And it's really a great way to see how close our mountains are to each other, not just the access of being able to drive there, but if you were able to dig a tunnel through some of our mountains, you'd be at a different resort within a few minutes. Definitely book early. It does fill up. I do not believe that bookings are open for that quite yet, but definitely check skiutah.com in the fall to book your tour. It's a great experience. During COVID, we kept this innovation, I suppose. We started also offering private interconnect tours. So if you don't if you have a group of people that you want to ski with only them, you can absolutely book a private interconnect tour, and they can kind of customize it to whatever you want. The interconnect tour at the public tours, they don't require skins or any backcountry equipment other than, show a beacon, which we provide and everything, but you don't need skins or to be able to do it. But if you wanted to skin and you wanted to have that backcountry experience, we can absolutely customize a tour for you. I should bring up here also that even though the Interconnect Tour is not quite on sale yet, our Ski Utah Kids 4th, 5th, and 6th grade pass just went on sale. So if you do have kids, that is the greatest deal in skiing. It's like a true steal. Incredible that we're able to offer this in partnership with the resorts, who continue to make, getting more people out on the slopes a priority. But 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, you got 3 days of skiing at each of our 15 resorts. So 45 days of skiing for $69.
Wow. That is incredible. I'm in 5th grade.
I know, exactly. I think it's the best deal in skiing. Anybody can purchase it. You don't have to live in Utah. So if you have kids in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade and you're planning a vacation out here, absolutely get your passport before prices go up December 1st.
That's incredible.
That's a good piece of information.
One last question for you off of that. How has Icon and Epic changed things in Utah? Have you seen an increase in skier visits from them?
It's really hard to say. It's hard to draw like a direct correlation like that. Definitely over the past few years, our skier visits have increased as you would have expected them to. I think especially during COVID, a lot of people, returned to skiing because it was such a safe way to socialize outside. But hard to say exactly what's responsible for those increase in skier visits. I think it's great to have all of these multi-resort passes, and Icon and Epic aren't the only ones. We have Mountain Collective, we have, Indy Pass,
Pass, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's great to have so many options to really be able to customize what you want to get out of your season and where you want to ski. And overall, it really has made skiing less expensive and more accessible. And I think sometimes people think the opposite. For what reason, I'm not sure, but I do hear a lot of people saying that skiing has gotten more expensive. But when you look at the data and you look at these multi-resort passes, they're really able to offer skiing at an affordable price, especially if you're planning multiple vacations. Like you can get some great deals with some of these multi-resort passes, or, our Ski Utah Yeti Pass as well, which is a companion pass to the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade pass, which offers 1 day of skiing at each of the resorts. There's really like so many options, which is great to see. Or, most of our resorts still also offer season passes to like individual resorts as well, if you want that.
No, that's great, because we've always said that the Icon Indy have a huge value here in the Northeast, but I tell customers and friends all the time that it really has a value when you take a trip out west.
That's when it really comes in.
It really comes in because you look at some of the day ticket prices. It knocks it down to about 1/8 of the price of going up to the window. So well worth looking into it and planning your trip ahead.
Absolutely.
So, well, Alison, we want to thank you for coming on. I would like to know can we have you back in the winter months?
Oh, yes. I'd love to come back in the winter months. That would be great. And by then we'll have all sorts of updates on what's new for winter and lots of options for how to get the best deal for skiing or even have a luxury ski experience if that's what you're after. So
that is outstanding.
That's what my wife would like, a luxury ski experience.
Yeah, exactly.
The days of hammocks are gone, I think. We're at the Stein. You had to bring that up, Mike.
Yeah, well, you know what? The Montage and Stein Eriksen, I mean, it's as good as it comes if you're going to treat yourself.
Yeah, so. Sundance, there's something for everyone, really.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so very much for joining us. Hopefully the summer months out in Salt Lake and the Wasatch are awesome, and hopefully the listeners are going to start booking trips out there.
Thank you.
Allison, thank you.
Whenever you want to go.
Mike, that was a whirlwind tour. What do you think?
My bags are packed.
I know. And I want to point out one thing. You talked about the Stein. We share a little connection there with Mr. Stein Eriksen, the founder of Sugarbush Ski School. People think you have to go out there, but his roots, we have a connection with Utah.
Well, I got news for you, Utah. New England is the connection to the original ski world. we're going to throw Sun Valley in there too. But New England really, the best skiers are still coming out of New England. That's what I'm saying.
There's going to be an argument everywhere, but I don't know about you, but I think when I get home today, Kate might have different plans for my trip coming up.
Little Utah time.
You know, we touched on it. We were laughing earlier. I was struggling to find a place to take off to, and it's right here in front of me. I mean, between the biking, the food, it's kind of got everything I want, and it's an easy flight from Boston.
Has Kate ever been to Utah?
She has not yet.
Okay, done.
Yeah. So
I mean, Utah is an amazing state. We had Colorado on. I mean, you've got the two premier Rocky Mountain states right there, in the sense of things to do. They have everything that anybody would want to do.
And that's it. It's it just kind of hit me in the head. It's how convenient it is. You know, I love Denver, and like I said, I'll never deny I am a Colorado boy through and through. But you land in Salt Lake, it's all there. You know, Colorado, you got to work for it a little bit more, which I don't mind. But, you know, they have the lap of luxury that 30 minutes out of the airport, I can have a drink in my hand. I can be relaxing. She can be in the spa. I could be unpacking the mountain bike. Might be a good thing.
It's done. I don't know what Hey, Chip, get off the computer. You already booked it.
I know. I'm right here. The flights are inexpensive.
Well, folks, it was a pleasure having Ski Utah on and Alison on today. Just an exciting place to ski, exciting place to go in the summer and experience our national parks and the ski areas that Ski Utah supports. Anything else, Chip?
I'd say keep tuned. It sounded like there were some exciting things coming up for this winter from Utah. I'm going to be interested to hear.
We will have them back for sure.
Excellent.
That is all for today, folks. We look forward to the next podcast. I think it will be the Olympic Authority up in Lake Placid.
This is exciting. It's Lake Placid's a pretty special place.
So the Olympic Authority in Lake Placid, and we just came out of a spot where, you know, the U.S. ski and snowboard teams reside in Utah. So it's a little Olympic action going into the Summer Olympics.
Games.
There you go.
And not far from Milan.
Yeah, not far at all. Well, thanks for joining us today, folks. We will see you on the next episode of the Basecamp Podcast.
Have a good day.
New England Ski Journal's Basecamp is a Seamans Media podcast. Seamans Media. Inspiring, informative, insightful.